Welcome to Inspired for More podcast. I'm so happy you're here. I'm your host, Alexandra Sauve, a lifestyle entrepreneur, a board-certified practitioner, and a passionate guide for those ready to elevate their vibration and expand their consciousness. This isn't about surface-level manifestation or simply just thinking better thoughts. It's about transforming your life from the inside out, learning to let go, to detach, and rewire yourself to align your boldest and most authentic purpose. Join me every single week as we dive into raising our vibration, elevating our consciousness, and stepping fully into the life that we came here to live. Remember, if you can be inspired, you are actually meant to inspire others. Enjoy the show. All right, well, welcome. I'm so happy you pressed play. And if this is your first time coming on, I'm so grateful that you discovered Inspired for More. This is absolutely my passion, baby. And if you haven't noticed, this is and if you're like a regular listener, this is a new season of Inspired for More. I've totally changed and revamped the intro, specifically because it was stopping me from coming on here more consistently. And I'm like consistent queen in terms of like my workout, eating well, my business activity. And this podcast has been my passion baby of coming to share as like an outlet of like spiritual evolution and things that I've recognized in terms of energy. And now specifically over the last year of like this massive awakening of realizing that consciousness never dies. And so these are the kind of things that I really want to cover. And what I felt in disalignment with that previous intro was like, I had to share these previous accolades that I had in my business, which honestly, I'm a huge advocate of network marketing. If you're new here, I'm a network marketing leader, but that is not who I am. That's what I do, but it's not what I do doesn't define who I am, if that makes sense. And so I've just decided to sweep that out of the intro and to just really feel more and more in alignment so that I can be more consistent on this. And I got a total God wink this week because Anchor Spotify does like this holiday wrap up, like 2024 wrap up. And I was blown away because and I say we because me and you listening, we are collectively bringing these types of things out there, okay, in the world, these kinds of lessons that I've acquired. And they are not infinite truth. They are my truth. There are things that are resonating with me and the things that I've studied and things that really feel in right alignment that I come and share on this podcast. We are in the top 10 percentage of video podcasts on the Spotify platform on Apple and Spotify. I'm like blown away. Okay. Because first of all, I haven't been as consistent as I need to be. And clearly people are desiring messages that are really aligned with what is your purpose? Why do we feel so much resistance? Why do we actually not feel good? Right. And so today I wanted to come and talk about how the ego plays with us. Okay. And there's three things that the ego absolutely plays on us. And I'm actually coming out with a course. Inspired for More is going to have a course coming out in 2025. So look out for that. It's going to be released in March. And I've really honed in on these three specific thoughts. Okay. So the ego will play on you. And I've recognized that when I was in my, my massive grief journey of feeling really, 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 like alone and like not enough and all of these different things. And so the very first thing that the ego will play with you is, and if you hear noise in the back, okay, I just want to tell you, like, it's like you make plans and God laughs at you. I'm like, I'm going to come home. I'm going to record a podcast. And then I get here and they're like working on something in my stairs, so like hammering things down. So just know, like, I can't change it. And I'm committed. Since I got that holiday wrap up. And since I changed my intro, I said, I'm going to be consistent. So here I am. Okay. So I want to talk about how the emotions are actually guiding. They are absolutely what influences how we are going to act, because our mind puts us to action, right? We feel like we're not enough. Well, guess what? We're acting like we're not enough. We're not taking bold action. We're not taking courageous action towards our goals because we are currently in a state of feeling like we're not enough. Okay. And so the number one way that the ego plays with us is feeling in lack. When you feel in lack, it plays with you on so many different levels. It makes you believe that you need to acquire something to feel like you're more. It makes you feel like you're just literally not enough. And what I've recognized during the grieving process with my mom was, for the first time in my life, I've always been somebody that's like super hardworking, and I'll show up somewhere, I'll do whatever I need to do. And I love being around people. I love elevating energy wherever I go. And so when it came down to it, I realized that in that season, as much as I had a phenomenal network around me at the incident that my mom passed away, 2 or 3 months later, I felt this unbelievable sense of depression, I would say. Okay. And I would sit in that space and I would feel so lonely, so, so, so lonely, like as if no one understood what I was going through. And what I realized is that what we're lacking, we're not giving. And so in the time that I wasn't giving, I was feeling the most alone and the most unloved, which was not the reality. It was a perceived reality. And a lot of the times perception is reality. Perception creates our reality. And so I was perceiving to feel alone and to only be good for business or to only be good for all these things. And what I recognized is that in that season, for the first time in my life, I wasn't being overly generous. I wasn't being overly kind that I normally love to be because that makes me feel good, right? And of course, that plays in our ego. But what I recognize is that what we lack is what we're not giving. And so I was like, if I feel unresourceful and I feel lonely, well, I'm going to make sure to put myself in spaces where I'm creating connection. And if I'm creating connection, then I'm giving connection to somebody else and I'm actually getting in return. And so that was one of the biggest lessons for me is like what I'm lacking, I'm not giving. If I'm not feeling loved, I'm not giving love. And so just getting back to those principles, and the ego will play with us that makes us feel like we're not enough in so many different other ways, like the one that I just mentioned. It'll make you feel like regardless of your successes or regardless of what you're doing, you're still never going to be enough. And that's an ego play because we are more than enough. We are more than worthy to accomplish all the things that we want to accomplish. And so one of the ways that you can battle a limiting belief or a limiting decision is by asking it, is this true? Is this true? Is it true that I am not enough? Show me evidence that I am not enough. Is this true for every aspect of my life? And when you start really digging into it, what you're going to notice is that these energetic holds that are on us, they're like big balls of like cotton that you're about to knit together. And then it's like big knot, right? Or a necklace that is all tangled up. So these emotions that we hold so dearly, and they were like, oh my God, I'm not enough. I'm feeling so empty. I'm feeling so like unworthy. We feel these ways. And then when we start to dismantle a limiting belief by asking, is this true? Is this true in every aspect? Is that right? Just like questioning it, like giving it a jab. It's almost like you're dismantling it, and little bit by little bit, it's like the more you're going to pull on it, the more it's going to unfrazzle itself. And so what I found with time is the more that I give what I'm lacking, and the more that I question these limiting beliefs to ask myself, is this true? Okay. Then I really start putting jabbers into my ego, and I start to feel more into my higher self, if that makes sense. The second thing is always trying to find what's wrong. Okay. Specifically in, we talk about trauma, and trauma can be different for everybody. We all are a result of our subconscious mind. So whatever we've been fed, basically like a cassette tape, ching, okay? Whatever happened between 0 to 7 years old is like your ultimate programming. It is the foundation of your program. And of course, my battery's at 9%. So we're going to roll through this. It's like Murphy's Law. So as you start to think about trauma, okay, people will spend their whole entire life trying to find where this happened. How, why am I like this? Why? I'm like this because of XYZ. I'm like this because of XYZ. I'm like this because of this and that. And what I've recognized throughout all of the things that the research that I've done over the last year is like, it doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter where the unworthiness stemmed from. It doesn't matter where the trauma was ignited. What we need to take personal responsibility for is just right now taking ownership of how we are going to decide to feel as of today. Okay. Because for as long as you are playing that card of where is it from? Where is it coming from? Ba, 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 ba. You're stuck in trauma response. And trauma response will never make you step into the most high frequency of yourself or the most elevated version of yourself. And so, how many people do we know that find themselves in talk therapy for like literally their whole entire life. And what I mean by that is they go see a therapist and they go see a counselor, which I'm not dissing that in any way. I know that I've personally witnessed so much great results from that when I was in my teen years, just to have somebody to voice what was concerning me, which will feel good. But I'm talking about true transformation. I'm talking about everything that we desire that we feel like we're unworthy of, everything that we want to expand to, but we feel like that's good for other people, but it's not good for me. These are all like challenges that have come up from a certain type of programming. And so that in itself, if you were to go sit in therapy literally for 600 hours of talking through an issue that you have, it is clinically proven that you will have, after 600 hours of talk therapy, it's 33% change has been observed. And this is why I'm always going to be the energy queen. I'm always going to be the meditation girl. That's why I've done a deep dove and got certified in all these things, because what I truly believe in for the studies are showing it, that true change, true programming change comes from speaking to the subconscious mind. And so the subconscious mind, through hypnosis, meditation, speaking to it, 6 hours of guided hypnosis and guided a meditation that speaks to the subconscious mind is proven to create 93% change. And so here you might be thinking about, when did I start having less confidence? It's because XYZ in school, and this happened to me, and this happened to me, and this happened to me. And of course, those are valid things that have happened to you. And we never want to dismiss what somebody's gone through. And I never want to look like I'm insensitive. But what I'm so passionate about is that you have the power within your hands today to decide who you are going to be in the next chapters. And it's only our ego that gets us stuck in these traumatic things that have happened to us, or trying to pinpoint exactly the event, or to revenge against it, and all the things. And so letting go of that and realizing that you have the tools within your hands to actually step into the very best version of yourself. And the one thing is just getting clarity on it. Okay. The emotions are always going to guide you there. And so when we think about lack, okay, lack, trauma, those are the things that the ego will keep us in place. And the third thing is making you believe that you are in control of everything. Okay. And I love the experience of living. I love the experience of going and guiding myself through this life, because what I recognize is that when there's great moments, you just got to ask yourself, how can it get any better? And when there's challenges that come up, you just have to be grateful for them, because it's giving you the opportunity to have contrast in your life. And contrast is such a powerful thing to hone in on. And when I think about contrast and I think about challenges, and it's funny because it's not funny, but it is funny. I have to say, because I'm a total life explorer. I had a really challenging thing that happened after my mom's passing that came up in my house. And when this happened, I was like, man, I'm going through grief. I went through a country change. I went through all these things. And now I've got this other massive obstacle coming to my way. And as that was happening, I found myself praying at night and just saying to God, thank you, God, for this massive obstacle. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this massive obstacle, because I'm going to take this on with best, the very best attitude that I can possibly have. And so the way that I recognize challenges now, it's not to put myself in I am unworthy or I am a victim. Okay. Those are the two things the ego wants to play on us. And it also, I'm not going to play the card that I am totally in control of all of this. I'm going to play the card that I am absolutely going to give it the very best attitude that I can possibly have. And just taking on that spirit cleared me up, because I believe that if I give it my best attitude, if I give it my best shot at taking on these challenges in my life with the best resources that I have, then you know what? As bad as it can get means as good as it can get, because life is all about contrast. It can swing that way, it can swing that way. But for as long as I am tested on how I'm going to be guided through this process, and it's almost like People go like, "Oh my god, you're like so too positive for me, Alex." I'm like, "No, I'm telling you right now. I treat life the way that I want my kids to treat life." And so if I give my child a challenge, okay? I challenge her to something. Okay, one of them. I have 2 daughters. And if I challenge them to something, I want them to be like, "Okay, mommy, that looks like really challenging, but I'm going to give it the best shot I've got." Okay? Give it the best shot I've got. Regardless of how they handle it, just the fact that they have a positive attitude, I will absolutely be proud of them. And so, what I've recognized is that the ego keeps us thinking that we are alone, that there's no spiritual connection, that this is literally the only 3D world that we live in. This is it. And I am grateful to have the belief that consciousness never dies. And I've witnessed it time and time again, specifically since my mom's passing, because if you're new here or you don't know, I love running. Okay, so I'm a big runner. I feel like that's the deepest connection that I feel with my higher self. It's the deepest connection that I feel with God when I go for my runs. People have invited me to running meetings, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's like my spiritual time. And so when my mom came to when she was about to pass, she was like, highly medicated, and she's like, Alex, I'm gonna come back and see you. I'll come back and see you in white butterflies. And I was like, wow, mom. Okay. And I'm like, and that's why I wear white butterflies on my necklace when I found that. And I was like, and I'll actually link this necklace in my bio in the show notes. So when I was like, okay, mom, you're really going to come back as a white butterfly. I mean, this is the first time that I've ever gone through grief of somebody as insanely close, because the biggest energetic link that we have in our lives is literally our mother. Okay. We were in the womb, we held connection. They are the ones that we have this embedded deep energetic chains. And so whether we have a positive relationship with our mom or a negative relationship with our mom, I mean, it has massive holes, and it's a whole process to unshackle that energy, just because we were instinctively intertwined in energy. And so she said to me that she's going to come see me in white butterflies. And to be honest with you, prior to her passing, I was like, there's no way in hell she's going to come see me in white butterflies. There's not even white butterflies where I live. I'll tell you what, over the last, now it's been 14 months. Over the last 14 months, I have yet to go on one run that I haven't seen a white butterfly. And sometimes the white butterfly comes right next to me, and it like literally runs like next to me for like a good 2, 3 minutes, you guys. Okay. So like it blows my mind away to think that this existence just like is done and it's over and done with. And I'm so fascinated by it. And of course, we all don't know what happens after life. But what I do believe is that we are a soul living a human experience. And the more that you tap into that, the more that you can just like live in a lot of humbleness and live in just forgiving people for being imperfectly the way that they are. Because who are we to judge? I'm like, if something works for them, if somebody believes something completely different than me, I can't control that. And first of all, if it works for them, awesome. And so the famous belief from the ego, okay, is that's the final one. There's three fundamental ones, and there's a lot of others, but these are the fundamental ones. It's I am in lack, I am a victim, and I am in control. Okay. That is the three. And you're going to notice that your emotions are connected. They're embedded in those three beliefs. And those three beliefs can have you have shackles for the rest of your life. And so if you can pinpoint it, like when you feel lonely, you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's the ego playing with me, telling me that I'm not enough and I'm lacking. Okay. Or if you're like, oh my God, I need to go do some shopping therapy, that's the ego telling you that you need XYZ to feel like you're worthy or that you're worth something. Then if you're feeling like a victim, oh my God, these people all go out and they don't invite me. Oh, I'm a victim. That's the ego playing with you. If you're thinking about I'm in control, like that person believes something completely different than me and they should think differently. And that is the ego playing with you. And so what I've recognized is that literally I elevate my energy knowing when my ego is playing games on me. And that famous first belief of the ego of feeling sadness and feeling lack is totally, we would say, valid. If you lost something that was important to you and you feel so sad about it, I feel that. I know it. I have so much gratitude that I've lived those hardships, that I've felt that depression, because now I can give back to that, and I recognize like whatever I'm missing, I just need to give. If I feel in love, I got to give more love. And it gets me emotional because I can connect with you if you're feeling sad right now and you're not feeling elevated. I can resonate with that. My soul speaks to you. And I just want you to know that you're not alone and that you are absolutely loved and you are worthy of so much. It's your ego entrapping you in believing these beliefs that are not serving you. And so I'm always like, I'll believe what I believe as long as it serves me, right? If it doesn't serve me, I'm not going to believe it, right? And the last thing is really that I am in control. And I am in control. We can't control everything in life. Look, I wanted to come and record this podcast and a meditation afterwards. Well, the meditation is going to have to wait because if they're hammering back there, I don't know if how I'll manage to do that. But my intention was that. And so I stick as closely to my intention. I can't control all variables. And that goes for everywhere in our lives. And so the more that we can see things, challenges coming into our life and just like humble ourselves and be like, you know what? I'm happy I'm living this experience because it's allowing me to actually feel what somebody else might be feeling at one point, and to know that like it's not always roses and sunshine, but you know what, it will keep getting better, and it is just an ultimate test of my attitude. So I hope that these top 3 tips about how emotions are intertwined, because your ego is is not interested in you elevating. Your ego is not interested in you feeling into your higher self, in the highest frequency of you. It wants to keep you in those lower vibration, and that entrapment is specifically done by those 3 fundamental beliefs. So hope this episode served you. If it did, I would so beyond appreciate you sharing it with a friend that could really relate to this, or taking time out to rate it, because absolutely this does impact it, and we are collectively elevating the energy of the world together. So lots of love. Wishing you a phenomenal rest of the day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into another episode. If this episode lit you up, imagine the ripple effect of sharing it and leaving a quick review for others to feel the inspiration. Until next time, stay inspired and keep shining.